officers and men in Owerri, through whom the police commissioner supervised the brutalization and humiliation of Comrade Aguero and other workers, be relieved of his office and stripped of its commission. 3. Mr. Nwaneri Chinesa, advisor on special duty, who supervised the terror on workers and partial brutality meted to the corporate president, Comrade Joe Aguero, be arrested immediately and prosecuted for his crime against workers and the president. 4. We demand an immediate, independent, and unbiased, thorough professional medical examination of Comrade Aguero in light of his physical and psychological injuries inflicted upon him. 5. Other workers and journalists subjected to his inhuman treatment by the police and the Hope Uzodima's group be treated by the states and all the properties lost be restored immediately. All outstanding industrial relations issues, as preciously agreed in the Imo State government, be implemented immediately. We further resolve that in the events the government failed to comply with any or all the conditions above stated, NLC, TUC, and their affiliates will no longer guarantee industrial peace and harmony in Nigeria, beginning Wednesday, 8th of November 2023, while a joint National Executive Council, NEC, meeting of the two labor centers will meet to decide the next course of action. We find it appropriate to let Nigerians know the sequence of events that leads to our going to Imo State for peaceful protest, but which was aborted by police and hoodlum recruited by the state governor. These has become necessary so they do not fall victim to government's propaganda or police disinformation and misinformation. We had police fictions that we disobey court order, but we want to know which court order. Our lawyer was in court last week and the matter was adjourned till today. Let us assume there was a court order. When was it granted? And where was it granted? How was the order obtained? And on whom was it served? And when? Comrade, let us assume there was a court order. Now, back to the sequence of events that leads to our going to Owerri. 1. Government repeatedly observed in breach agreement it voluntarily reached with labor, among which was the January 9th, 2021, about 2 years ago. 2. Non-payment of salaries and pension for upward of 22 months, in some instances 42 months. 3. Declaration of 11,000 hard workers as ghost workers, and the diversion of their salaries and emolument to other uses. 4. Serial vandalization of Congress Secretariat for no just cause, as you have seen. 5. Non-implementation of national minimum wage law, causing this distortion and pains among working class in the state. 6. Implementation of discriminatory pay policy and practice which depends poverty. 7. The backlog of gratuity arrears stretching to 8 years. 8. Government continued harassment, intimidation of workers or their executive. 9. Non-remittance of check-off dues or misappropriation of check-off dues by government. 10. frequent interference by government in internal matter of trade unions to the point government wants to decide who occupies which posts. 11. Systemic intimidation of trade unions and trade union leaders, dismantling of trade union structure, regular bullying and beating of workers, and denying them access to the fruits of their hard labor. Gentlemen of the press, what they are accustomed to is the butcher of solution, which we are better off without. Let us not pretend that we have democracy in Imo State. It's good that this impression should be corrected. In our press briefing, we've highlighted the reason why we were in Imo State, so it was nothing short of the interest of Nigerian workers, not political. We don't interfere or campaign for any politician or political parties in Imo State. That was not our intention, and it will never be our intention. In the case of saying that the federal government intervened by the NSA intervention, absolutely, you are right. It intervened by ensuring that our comrade president was released. And other interventions are also very apt. What happens to the equipment of the journalists and other workers seized, brutalized, and injured, smashed? These are issues of which we also believe that the state government and the federal government should also come in. I want to emphasize here, it's not about only the federal government, even the National Assembly, because injury for one is injury for all. If we want the democracy to strive, we must not cack the labor movement. And it is obvious, today as we speak, Nigeria is chairing the governing body of International Labour Organization. If you don't put your house in order in terms of unfair labor practices, what moral justification will you have, to prevail on other nations of the world or Committee of Nations of the world to uphold best practices in the labor administration? I think we need to emphasize this.
It has never happened in the history of NLC, where the elected leader, elected by the workers, number one citizen of the workers in Nigeria today, was embarrassed. Not only embarrassed, he almost killed. Like I said, I will continue repeating myself on these issues. If somebody can be blindfolded and you're on the verge of even throwing inside lagoon, you know what it means. That means we are not practicing democracy. So, the text of a press conference addressed by the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress of TUC of the abduction of brutalization of the President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, Comrade Joe Ajero, and others by the Imo State Governor, Onsodima, and the Nigeria Police in Owerri, Imo State, on the 3rd of November 2023. Gentlemen of the press, on Wednesday, the 1st of November 2023, the President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Joe Ajero, was abducted by officers and men of the Imo State Police Command at the behest of the State Governor from the NLC State Council Secretariat in Owerri, while waiting for his colleagues to join him for a peaceful protest rally. They came in a convoy of vehicles and gun trucks, hooded and armed to the teeth. Our leader, Comrade Joe Ajero, was blindfolded, beaten to a pulp, brutalized, humiliated, and violated by the police personnel and taken to unknown destination, where he was subjected to more battering and torture, as well as threatening with death before help could come in his way. Feared the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuru Ribadu, who ordered for his immediate release. However, due to the severity of his injuries, the police are taking him to the police headquarters, where we made contact with him at 3:30 p.m. At the time of our first contact with Comrade Joe Ajero, His right eye was puffed, black and soft. One of his ears has tiny traces of dry blood. His speech was blurred and incoherent. He had words all over him. He did not recognize the people around him, and he could not walk without being what? Aided or supported. Invariably, he had to be taken to Federal Medical Center, Owerri, in Imo State, for further investigation. At Federal Medical Center, Comrade Ajero, after he was stabilized, was referred to investigation, a head and brain scan, a full body scan, chest x-ray, a full body scan, and cervical spine therapy, among others investigations, and promptly fitted with a net collar. Ladies and gentlemen, Comrade Ajero was not the only one beaten and arrested by the police, but he was the major target. Thus received the most bestial and repressive treatment. He was stripped of his dignity as a human being and as a president of this Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC. He was also stripped of his personal items, including the phones, money, and other electronic gadgets. His vehicle was smashed and tires ripped off. Others who were also with him were all beaten by the police, included workers. The TVC crew, who were arrested and detained, they had their cameras seized for filming and being in possession of evidence the police would not want the whole world to see. The Arise TV crew narrowly escaped being brutalized. Earlier on, hoodlums sent by the state governor have stationed themselves around the streets, including the secretariat, where were beaten up workers who had reported at the secretariat and dispensing them of their personal items, including money and phones and laptops. We are worried that it has come criminal for workers in Nigeria to gather for a peaceful protest when Section 40 of the Nigeria Constitution and the International Convention, like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the African Chapter on Human and People's Rights, including ILO Convention 87 and 98, guarantees the right to freedom of association and the right to bargaining collectively. It is more absurd that these infractions will even happen at all and still continue to happen, especially when Nigeria sits as the chairman of the governing board of the ILO. Accordingly, about deteriorating health condition of Comrade Ajero, our leader, outraged by the bestial treatment meted on him, to workers including Ajero and journalists by the police and in Imo State government. Stunned by this complicity of a federal agency such as Nigeria Police, irritated by the defense of the Imo State Police Command that only took Comrade Ajero into protective custody from where he emerged, battered, consumed, puffed, hide, debilitated, and condemned. That is the police. Worried by this constitutional silence of the federal government and the aloofness of the federal security agency, who were formally notified of our presence in Imo State, but removed to take steps to offer protections.
Our demand as a labor center is captured in this very press conference. It behoves on you that are here as journalists to make confirmation whether what labor is agitating for the workers of